My name is Martin Brynskov. I'm chair of the Open Agile Smart Cities Network. I really hope that cities can be sustainable, prosperous, and inclusive to deliver a future for their citizens. An open and agile smart city, I think, is just a city that's trying to do its best with digital technologies. But of course, openness means that it's transparent to its citizens, its partners, transparent to the world about how it manages the resources, the assets that are the joint, you could say, property of that community. On the other hand, it's also trying to make the best of new technologies. And that's actually sometimes a conflict. How do you create security for your citizens, dependability, stability, while at the same time creating an innovative and agile environment? That is actually, I think, at the core of what an open and agile smart city is doing. It's trying to balance and find a path through those two priorities. The biggest challenge cities are facing right now is that the way they are organized as organizations is 200 years old. So it's organized in silos that do different things like roads or education or health very well. The problem is now with the digital transformation, the data cuts across. And if you optimize for one thing, for the roads, or for the health, or for the education, you sub-optimize. You do not optimize well for the city as a whole. So that is the biggest difficulty, actually reorganizing cities, because cities are quite slow, which is probably a good thing. There are very big differences between cities. Even within a country, there are big variations. Of course, there's difference in size, in economic ability, in history. I travel a lot, and whenever I have been in 1 hour in a place, maybe we start talking about waste management or transportation. After 1 hour, we talk about the history of the city. Because every city actually has a different timeline. So even if, yes, of course, there's differences between parts of the world, Asia, Africa, Latin America, Europe, the US, actually every city is quite different. And that's one of the big challenges we have, because digital technologies do not care. They treat every city the same way. So we actually have to improve on the digital technologies before we can be relevant to every city. The city of Helsinki, perhaps many will have heard that the mayor not only said that Helsinki should be the most functional city in the world. The mayor also hired a chief digital officer to ensure that digital technologies were not just something that happened somewhere around the corners of the city administration, but in the office next to him. So I think Helsinki is an inspiring example. Then I think a small town like Saint-Quentin in France is actually very active with the mayor, with the civil servants, and with the whole ecosystem of companies serving a quite small community, but on the same principles as Helsinki and Aarhus. So I think they are quite inspiring examples because their learnings can be taken by many, many more around the world. In 2030, that's more or less 10 years from now, the city, or the cities I would like to see, are very similar to the cities we see today. I think the main challenge is actually not to destroy the good things we have in our cities, that we have together, where people live quite closely together. So I think one of the biggest challenges going 10 years ahead is actually not to destroy much of what is already working since 1000, 2000, maybe even more time ago.